so here we are again, dearest beings of light. And you thought you were done with us. Ha ha! Surprise. What is it? We started this morning with surprise, 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 surprise. You are the evolutionaries. As our dear friend Peggy said, we say you are the ones we have been waiting for. You are the light plurkers. And we've given you so much information. Your little plurking ability is a little hanging out on the sides. But as you understand, that vibrational frequency lives on within you. That vibrational connection that you have made today expands beyond where you thought possible. As you are amplified by these sacred stones, as you are amplified by the trees and the rocks and the frogs, to release your fear, yes? Those that listen to this in the future will not have any idea what we're talking about. Frogs can be your fear. It's time to let go of your fear. It's time to look at your fear. It is time to stand in your presence and see what is that fear and how does it embody anything within you. And as you are looking at that fear, do not get all hung up in the drama of it. Do not get all hung up in the story of it. You know that now, yes? That is when you're creating that fear yourself and making it bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, every time you tell that fear story, it gets bigger and bigger. Instead, just stop telling it. You can even use the bracelet to remind you to stop telling that story. Because with that story, it brings all that energy back to you of that old drama, trauma, fear, garbage. It's just stuff. You want your body filled with stuff? Your body is like those snowflakes our vessel Marilyn with the water frozen by a Dr. Emoto, which this being of light introduced to this being of light back here. And he doesn't even know that. 17 years ago. But you see, that is how it works. That is why you always must say yes. Show up. Show up and be willing to move through. Show up and be willing, even if you think that this can't possibly be on your path, even if you believe that this can't possibly be a part of your energy, ask yourself first, are you in resistance? And if you are in resistance, why? What are you resisting? Your success? What are you resisting? Your future? What are you resisting? Your relationship? What are you resisting? Your love? What are you resisting? Your perfect body? What are you resisting? Your perfect brain? Stop it. You know, it really is that simple. Because that resistance has kept you where you have been. We believe that you are moving into new territory for your soul. There is no paradigm for where you are now. No paradigm. So that means there's no safety net. Woohoo. Let's go on the trapeze again. Yes. Because you no longer need a safety net. Because you are magnificent beings of light. You are magnificent, power-filled energy connectors that are moving through this universe love and light and laughter and joy, and a little contrast. You know, that contrast always seems to come at just the right moment so you get the biggest lessons of all. So you no longer have to do them again. Oh, good, I don't have to be burned at the stake this lifetime. Celebrate that. Oh, good. I don't have to lose all my belongings this lifetime. I did that already. Celebrate that. Oh, good. I get to evolve. Someone showed us that evolve, when you put the words in, spells love backwards. We don't know. We've not written it out, but we're looking for that. Isn't that interesting? Yes, that is what you are doing. You are moving beyond where you have ever been on this planet or any other planet right now, this weekend. And you just thought you signed up for a channeling retreat. No. You knew what you signed up for. You knew that you were here to ignite everything that is working in your favor for positivity in your existence. And therefore it radiates out beyond you for your family, for your friends, for your non-family, for your non-friends, for your neighbors who you may never have spoken to. You're going to go home and you're going to say, hello. Hello, neighbor. They may look at you weird at first, but that is just because your light is so bright they might need sunglasses. You see, that information that you are walking away with, only 200 of you have it. Take a breath. But when you do the math, and each one of you knows at least 200 people, and then that doesn't include all the 200 people that are in your environment that you don't know, so that's over 400 people every day that you have to come in contact with. And when you multiply that out, and that multiplies and doubles that, and that doubles that, and that doubles that, it doesn't take long before you get to 8 billion people on this planet. And they all get to be activated, yes? You know it is no longer us and them. There's no longer two different categories of people, ones that are enlightened and ones that are not, ones that are awake and ones that are not. Everyone gets to wake up, even your sister-in-law. Because she's thinking the same thing about you. You see, dearest, your lovingness, your expansion of your heart. You feel it now, yes? You feel that energy, that your heart is as big as this room. Imagine what it would be like when you go back to your hotel. And it fills up your hotel room. And then it goes through the night. And tomorrow, with Pragit and Peggy the next day, and Lee and Kryon, it's like, how could the world not shift? How does it get any better than this, huh? Let's find out. You see, that energy of connection, that is what you bring to it. And you will be told over and over and over how magnificent you are, so get it already. Let us bring in new information, huh? Trust yourself. Trust your love, trust your light. Trust your intuition. Trust your quantum vision, your receptivity. And be the love that you are. Namaste.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. All day long, you have been hearing the channeling and the teaching that you're more than you think you are, because what Adironda said and has said so many times, you're beyond that which you thought. You've come at a perfect time to be beyond that which you thought. And again, I turn to what is happening in the room. In the consciousness that is here of awareness, there are those who are prepared for advanced information. That advanced information is much of what the channeling in these days is giving you. And by advanced information, we also mean advanced understanding. I'm going to speak of something now, yet again, that is partly scientific, and here's the reason. If you tell someone you're going to a channeling meeting here in Sedona, if they are not necessarily aware of what that might mean, or have a preconceived notion of what they think it means, they'll pat you on the head and say, "Have a good time," roll their eyes. And then when you come back, they'll ask you very little. Because you might tell them about the fairies on the wall or the frogs that spoke to you and all the things, especially in Sedona. That is very common. And so what I'm saying is this, that there are many who don't expect much from the meeting, really. Especially those who don't understand what you understand. It's got to be practical. I'm going to say that over and over. This is real. It must be practical. It cannot be something that is in the ethers for people to enjoy and understand, listening to the fairies and all the things that you're accused of that have no reality. By the way, there are those who listen to the fairies and understand them very well. That's another story. What's real and what is not real? And that is the subject right now. Practical. What's real and what is not real? What you see in your life day by day, the problems you've carried in here, the issues that you have as you sit, they're very real. But there is also a reality in something that you may not be aware of. It's the field. More and more research in these years is being done on something called the field. We have told you this, that the field is actually a sub-reality that contains the potentials of everything that exists. The potentials of the future. Now let's be careful, and I want you to understand the reality and the practicalness and even the science of what I'm about to tell you. Because those in this room can understand it, apply it, work with it, while others are scratching their heads even with the concept itself. So I'll start with this. Years ago, I gave you information that you'd get a new pope. 13 months later, you got a new pope. When the young North Korean leader lost his father, within a month, I started giving you information that I repeated 5 times over certain numbers of years that said there was a potential that that leader would drop his nuclear arsenal and unite the Korean peninsula. It was fantasy and folly right up to the moment where he continued threatening. And then in June of this year, everything changed with a handshake And it ought to give you chills to know what happened there. What did happen? Well, Kryon, you gave the future. You gave us predictions. I did not. I simply gave you what was in the field. Potentials lay there. Some unfulfilled and some ready to be fulfilled, depending on the action of the human who is involved. Did you hear that? They're there. Are potentials real? And the answer is, how do you define reality? Do you define it as that which happens to you and that you have to deal with? Or do you define it as that which you design that's going to happen in the field, potentials you activate, and you are controlling, therefore, your very life? Did you hear that? Those who measure the field, those scientists who are involved in watching the effect of mass consciousness, have all seen the same head-scratching thing. That when certain events happen on the planet and consciousness starts to be raised into a compassionate mode and all of the needles start to measure what they're measuring, they've noticed something spectacular, really. That moments before the activity which was supposed to then galvanize humanity, such as 9/11, moments before the charts reacted. Moments before the event. Now, some would call that precognition. I call it activating the field. The potentials of those things that were measured were always there. Therefore, right before their actual occurrence, they actually broadcasted their presence. This is elegant, advanced information. I want you to understand what's reality. I've given you predictions that have not come true yet, and you're waiting and waiting and waiting. The fall of Big Pharma. I gave you that years ago. It's inevitable. It's coming. But it must be activated. And the ones who are going to activate it actually have been stopped a number of times. Are you surprised? There will come a time, dear ones, when they will not be stopped. This is in the field. And that is why I can give that prediction that these things are going to change. The integrity of it, or the lack of that, will be shown and measured, and there will be reaction, big reaction. We've given you another one. We've told you that there is something in the field that is happening right now. Things that you wouldn't know about. Things that are happening in the dark, but that are coming out into the light. I've told you there's going to be a revelation of the slavery of children on this planet. That it's going to burst out of its horrible shell that it has been hiding in through tremendous amounts of money which are poured into this industry of darkness. And that it will be revealed when the light is shown. And there will be those who will see it and say, woe is me, the earth is doomed. Look at how awful everything is, not understanding it always was. And now it's coming into the light in these times. That is in the field. But there are some things that are in the field that will not be activated. And the reason is because those who would activate have done nothing. Or they've been stopped. What's in the field for you? And this is where it gets good. What is your definition of real? You've come with an issue. You want something given to you in knowledge or an aha, or perhaps a new idea that is going to help change the issues that are stagnant within you. You've come with a desire to walk out with information that you can work on because it's practical. So work on this. I have just given you the science of precognition. It's not fortune telling. It is part of reality that lays in the field. There are experiments, many, much like the intuition experiments and the things that you practice today. Experiments where they would show a card or not show a card and measure those who could identify what card was actually next. And so often, what they call the P factor, that is in statistics, is all messed up because people are guessing or not. They're identifying what card is next. And the reason is in the field. You see, in simple experiments where you're showing cards and you're asking what's next, even though it's in the dark, even though they can't see it, you understand that the field demands that it be there. It's right there. It's simply not visible yet, but it's there. So why don't you pick it up and say, this is what it's going to be? Do you understand what I'm saying? And they do. Science is starting to prove the field. And this says this to you right now. Are there potentials for your healing, for the situations you wish would clear to clear? Are there potentials in the field? I'm going to tell you there are. There are. And they might just lay there, unfulfilled. Kryon, what can I do to activate the potentials that might be in the field? I will tell you this. You claim them. You claim them as though they are real. This potential of mine that has been waiting, I've been waiting. And here it is. I know it's out there. I can feel it, you might say. And you're right. So many of you in this room, with a consciousness that would sit here for a channeling like this, have felt these things. That's why you're here. More than just in the cracks, as I said this morning. It's in the field. Actually, a reality that is yours. It isn't here yet, but it lays in the field because it's a potential. There are those who say, I'm stuck. I've tried. Do you realize that in your intent and in your trying and being and doing, you have created a potential in the field? For the very thing that you've asked for. And the timing, when is the timing? How about now? And that's what I want to tell you. Precognition is simply the identification of what is already there. Already there. It's just not the time for it yet, but it exists. Like the healing you came for. Like the straightening out of the issues that you would like to have straightened out. Like the ahas that you would like the direction that you would like to know about to go next. I know who's here. It's there already. Intuition is the key. Have you heard that today? Intuition is the key. And intuition exists through the higher self. It is God-given. It's what you see in the mirror. It's the surprise. It is yours. And as you start exercising that, you start to see the reality that is in the field, and then it starts to pull toward you. And through the intuition and the intent, I claim these things because they exist. Not because I want some miracle out of the sky, because they're there. You have created them. That's the field. This has scientific legs, as they say, dear ones. This is practical. This is what you take from these kinds of meetings, and you start working on. You start asking the questions, is it really there? Could Kryon be right that what I've worked for so long is actually already built? And all I have to do with my intuition is start to claim it and start to work with it. And the answer is yes. The answer is yes. You become your own intuitive. You start looking at these things and you can even predict them yourselves, and out of your own mouth you'll say, this is going to happen for me. And that gives it credibility even with your own body. Do you understand this process? Here it is, you claiming what's in the field for you has arrived. And the body then hears it, feels it, works with it, and it starts to be real to you. That's designer reality. What I just gave you in these few moments is advanced information. It's information that requires you to think about it a little, for it's outside of the box of past, present, future. It lifts you above that which you might expect and shakes hands with everything you learned today. Everything. And it will also shake hands with everything that's coming in these next days. You are magnificent. You were born magnificent. You look in the mirror and you see God in you. There is so much that is being enabled for old souls like you in this new energy. But you have free choice, and you have intent, and you have intuition. All of these tools that you're beginning to sharpen and know more about. Leave this place differently than you came, and come tomorrow ready for new information, for channeling that is different than you expected, for energies that you will open up for and say, I don't know what's here. Bring it on. Because all of it will enhance you, dear ones. Let it begin. And so it is.